Good afternoon, everybody. Tom Leahy with Optimum Ed. Today, we're going to talk about paying for college. Let's first start with the idea of reducing the cost of education, because that's really where it starts. Cost is driven by picking the wrong school, choosing the wrong major. The biggest mistake families and students make when cost is an issue is applying to college, getting into an institution, and then trying to figure out how to pay for it after the fact. If cost is a concern, it needs to be part of the planning process from the beginning. The wrong school also creates a potential for changing colleges. And the wrong major, changing academic direction, both which drive up cost. And it takes more time, and somebody pays for that, right? We spend more time, we spend more money, and somebody pays for it directly or indirectly through accumulation of additional debt. I also like to point out that pushing the envelope on prestige versus value is not wise when picking a school. The more cost and the greater academic stress, it can cause unwanted failure. Attendance at a prestigious school does not create a successful person. The student was successful before they attended a prestigious institution. That's how they got in. And that's how schools maintain their prestige, by recruiting successful students. Okay, enough philosophizing. Let's talk about steps. All right. So, first, when we talk about addressing costs, first we were already talking about identifying the right college major, okay, and the right school that will deliver value. Obviously, that's important. That's the first thing we need to deal with. Second is to file the required financial aid forms so that we can receive all the aid that we're eligible, for. So we want to make sure we do that. Third step, once we've determined where we're going and where we're going to attend and how much financial aid we're going to be receiving in that process, we need to come up with a plan then to pay the family share, right? How are we going to deal with the difference, right? And there's a hierarchy to this as well, okay? There's a hierarchy to the things. It's in order to do it in the right way. So the first thing is to, do you have a 529 savings plan? If there is one, then we need to schedule payments out of that 529 plan over 4 years, and unless the amount that's in the 529 plan is such that it would greatly reduce the family's EFC calculation, expected family contribution calculation, the number that drives need-based assistance, what the family can fairly afford for 1 year's cost of education. If the amount in the 529 plan is large enough that by spinning it down will greatly increase eligibility in the subsequent years, then we need to consider that. If not, then we want to schedule that payment out of the 529 plan over, 4-year period. That's the first thing. Then, let's look for, any private scholarship opportunities that might be out there. And there's different ways you can do that, but looking for private sources of funding, scholarships, that's next. What can the family's budget absorb? That's the next level, right? So we've paid out 529 plans. We've taken that off the table. We're looking for other money, private sources, and then what can the family afford on a monthly basis toward this process? What can the budget absorb, right? And then let's look at other assets that the family has. And does it make sense to use them in covering cost versus taking out loans, right? But that, and that's a financial process of looking at what you can borrow money for versus what your assets are making in the market and that sort of thing. All right, we're back. Sorry for the technical problems. So where were we? Let's see. We were talking about assets that you might have invested versus loans, right? You need to consider that and see, what makes sense in terms of, covering, the additional cost of education for the family. And then we look at loans, right? And we want to maximize federal loans, Stafford loan, student loan, plus loans for the family. We want to maximize federal loans prior to looking at private options because, the government-backed loans are normally more flexible and more lenient. So that would be the next. And then last but not least, if we still need funding, then we look at our private loan sources. That's the hierarchy that we need to follow, right? And understand that minimizing debt is important in the process, right? Minimizing debt because, not paying back student loans can affect credit, our credit worthiness. And it can also, the amount of debt that we're carrying can also affect future mortgage qualification, that sort of thing. So it's really important to try to maximize everything else before we jump into loans. You gotta remember that, right? So if you need help with all this, we can help at Optimum Ed. We are excited to announce that we have a partnership now with Sallie Mae. So combined with our other financial services, we can deal with everything, as I like to say, soup to nuts when it comes to the paying for college. So we start with an estimate of student financial aid eligibility. So we do that calculation of expected family contribution. So we know what the family is going to be expected to pay. So we can compare that to the cost of schools that we're looking at to see whether there's need going to be established or not, or whether we need to focus on merit and what that looks like. So we can do that. We can forecast, what the individual schools might be offering in terms of need and merit assistance. So we can compare schools side by side for the family and for the student. We can correctly file the financial aid forms. We can help you make sure that those forms, the FAFSA, the CSS profile, institutional forms that may be required, we can make sure that those are filed correctly. So there's no problems in terms of how that's done. We can help that. And then we can also provide guidance and assistance in correctly, accessing student financial aid from whatever form it might be, whether federal, state, collegiate, private sources. We have a proprietary private scholarship search function that's available to our clients. It is not something you can get online. This is our search function that we have in conjunction with our partnership. So that is available to our clients, private scholarship search. And then we can do a comparative analysis of the school's offers that you get once you're accepted to colleges or universities. We can help you compare those offers to make sure you understand exactly what you're getting and what that means in terms of, merit versus non-merit versus debt, what all that looks like. So you can really make the best decisions financially to make sure that this is a value situation that you're walking into. That's what what it's all about. The end game is creating a value proposition. So we can help frame that for you. So if you want to get more information, if you want to have a conversation with us, that'd be great. You can call us at the office, 804-417-4807. You can get to us through the website, OptimaMedCenter.com, or email ask@OptimaMedCenter.com. So look forward to touching base with you. If you have any questions, please let us know. And just want to wish you all have a great weekend. Thank you. Take care.